Five Nights at Freddy's 4, originally named Five Nights at Freddy's: The Final Chapter in development, is an indie point-and-click survivor horror game developed by Scott Cawthon in the fourth installment of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. The game is a prequel to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and takes place in 1983, chronologically being the first game in the series. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is a departure from the conventional series format in many ways. Most notably, rather than playing as a security guard in an office defending against roaming animatronics, the main protagonist is a child in their bedroom, warding off twisted, monstrous versions of the well-known original characters. Instead of having a monitor to ward away the animatronics, the player must instead check the doors, closet, the bed, and utilize a flashlight to ward away any nightmare animatronics outside the room, relying on environmental noises to know if something is approaching or about to attack. Also, where the previous games could be played by frantically clicking between screens and defenses, the pace at which the game is played must be slowed down considerably, as making a move without waiting for cues can easily result in a game over. A series of minigames playable between the nights tell the story of a young boy who is speculated to be the player character. In the first minigame, the boy is locked in his bedroom with plush toys, which he calls his friends. One of the plushies, based on the animatronic Fredbear, provides consolation for the boy, as he is teased and tormented for his fear of a family restaurant near his home. In the subsequent 4 minigames, he is deliberately scared, abandoned at the restaurant, teased by his peers, and unwillingly locked in the restaurant's parts and services room. 2 Easter eggs can be discovered during the minigames. One shows the purple figure previously featured in the second and third games fitting someone into an animatronic suit, implying he is an employee at the restaurant, while the other shows a program on a television screen dated 1983, presumably the year in which the minigames are set. Rumors are also mentioned about the animatronics of the restaurant coming to life at night. In the 6th minigame, the boy is shown crying during his birthday party at the restaurant, and a group of bullies wearing animatronic masks, including the boy's older brother, terrorizes him. Amused by his fear, they lift him into the real FAZBEAR'S mouth for a kiss, stuffing his head into the animatronic's mouth. The boy's tears damage Fredbear's spring lock system, causing it to forcefully close its mouth and crush the boy's head. This act horrifies the brother and his friends, who can only stare in shock at their mistake. The 7th minigame shows the boy in a black room surrounded by his plush toys. One of them apologizes to the boy, while another promises that, "I will put you back together." The plush toys fade out one by one, and the faint sound of a heart monitor flatlining can be heard, implying that the boy has died. If the player completes the nightmare mode of the game, an image of a locked metal trunk is displayed. If the player wiggles the padlocks, text appears stating, "Perhaps some things are best left forgotten, for now." Cawthon has remained cryptic about the meaning behind the trunk. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 received mainly mixed reviews from professional critics. The game was given an aggregate score of 53.33% from Game Rankings, based on 3 reviews, and a 50 out of 100 from Metacritic based on 5 reviews. Unlike the previous 3 installments, however, the critics are largely divided from one another into several factors that the 4th game presents. The Escapists and Game Zebo praised the game for intense environment, darker and emotional storyline, creepy ambience noise, and frightening jump scares, while reviewers such as Destructoid criticized the same factors, stating the new mechanics were an easy, dull, obvious trick, and noted being confused on what to do several times. Five Nights at Freddy's sister location is an indie point-and-click survivor horror game developed by Scott Cawthon in the 5th installment of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. The game is a sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Unlike the first 4 games, the 5th game has a major change in its gameplay formula. Instead of the player being stuck in one room and fending off animatronics, the player can now free roam and explore areas. The game begins with an interviewer questioning William Afton, the creator of the game's animatronic characters and the purple figure depicted in the previous installment's minigames, on certain design choices he has made when building the animatronics. Afton lists several features of Circus Baby, such as her ability to make ice cream, inflate balloons at her fingertips, and take song requests and dance to them. The interviewer is unsatisfied with this answer, as the features Afton mentioned were not what he was referring to. Sometime later, Afton's son Michael is a new employee of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, an underground facility and sister location to FREDDY'S Pizza, featuring animatronics that is rented out to children's birthday parties. These include new circus-themed variations of the original animatronics, Funtime Freddy, Bon Bon, and Funtime Foxy, as well as several new characters such as Ballora, the Bitty Babs, the Mini Renas, and Circus Baby. These animatronics originated from Circus Baby's Pizza World, which was made in response to the popularity of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but had been shut down shortly before it was supposed to open due to gas leaks. As his first night starts, the assistant AI hand unit assigns Michael his daily tasks. On night 2, the power goes out, and Michael must hide from the Bitty Babs in order to reset the faculty's circuit breakers. Circus Baby, who turns out to be sentient, warns Michael to ignore the instructions given by hand unit to avoid being killed by Ballora, then gives Michael her own instructions. In between nights, dialogue shows Afton's daughter begging her father to allow her to play with Circus Baby, which was initially created for her, but she was later denied access to it by Afton for unknown reasons.
Daddy, just once let me go play with her. She's so pretty and shiny. Didn't you make her just for me?
In a post-death minigame, the daughter manages to approach Circus Baby, but it extends a claw from its stomach and pulls her inside, implying that the animatronic is now possessed by the girl's soul. On night 3, Michael repairs Funtime Freddy. However, he is ambushed by Funtime Foxy on the way back. He awakens the following night, night 4, in an animatronic suit, having been kidnapped by Circus Baby and placed in the scooping room, which removes the endoskeletons of the animatronics. After witnessing Ballora's endoskeleton being taken out by the scooper, Michael is left to survive the night against the Mini Renas before freeing himself. On night 5, 2 technicians are found hanged, and Michael is instructed by Circus Baby to destroy her emptied body by sending her to the scooping room, while evading an unknown animatronic following him. If Michael brings Circus Baby's body to the scooping room, Circus Baby's voice reveals herself to be Anard, the animatronic following him. An amalgamation of parts from the faculty's animatronics, Anard traps Michael in the room and uses the scooper to eviscerate and kill him. Anard then disguises itself in Michael's body to escape the facility. If the custom night is completed on the hardest difficulty, an 8-bit cutscene shows Anard abandoning Michael's decomposing body after some time and fleeing into the sewers. Circus Baby says, "You won't die," repeatedly, prompting Michael to miraculously revive and stand up. Now hiding in the shadows due to his disfigured appearance, Michael talks to his father about his time in the facility and finding and freeing her. He ponders his own survival from being mutilated and used by Anard before declaring that he will find his father. In the burned remains of FAZBEAR'S Fright, Springtrap, which contains Afton's body, emerges among the ruins.
I always come back.
Alternatively, Michael can disobey Circus Baby and retrieve a keycard, whereupon he enters a private room where he has to fend off Anard until 6 a.m. An Easter egg accessible in this area shows camera footage of the house featured in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, implying that the house belonged to the Afton family, and that the boy depicted in its minigame was Afton's son and Michael's younger brother. After finally completing his shift, Michael rests at home where Anard has followed him. The game refers to this ending as the fake ending. The bulk of the gameplay in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location does away with the survival aspect of previous games. Instead of remaining in one place and preventing the animatronic antagonist from attacking, the player must move from room to room in order to fulfill a series of narrative objectives that change during each of the 5 nights. The occasional post-death minigames return from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. When a game ends, the player may be given a chance to play an 8-bit minigame. In Sister Location, Circus Baby must give cupcakes to children and then bring an ice cream cone to a little girl, ending in the girl's death. Completing this minigame grants access to the Night 5 secret level, a near recreation of the gameplay in the original Five Nights at Freddy's, bringing back survival gameplay. Completing all 5 nights unlocks extra features, pictures and blueprints of the game's animatronics, their making of, a map of the facility, and menu access to Circus Baby's cupcake minigame. As of the December 1st, 2016 update, clearing all nights also unlocks the non-canon custom night mode, which is set in a modified version of the Night 5 secret room. The player can choose from several modes and difficulty settings, facing new animatronics, and must conserve both power and oxygen supplies in order to survive. Completing these modes allow the player to view a series of cutscenes that have been declared as part of the series canon. All except the last scene are in 8-bit resolution. An achievement system exists in the form of 4 stars, obtained by unlocking both the game's endings, completing the Circus Baby minigame, and completing the hardest difficulty on each custom night preset. Completing each custom night preset on each mode grants its own star in the specific custom night mode. Like in all Five Nights at Freddy's games, failure to defend oneself from hostile animatronic characters will result in a jump scare. The game received mostly positive reviews. Metacritic gave it an 8.1 out of 10, with TechRaptor rating it the highest at a 9. Destructoid appeared to have the lowest, a 6, citing pacing and continued reliance on the tropes that made the original a success. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator is the 6th and chronologically final installment of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. It is a tycoon pizzeria simulator. It was released on Steam on December 4th, 2017, then released to Game Jolt on December 13th, 2017. The mobile edition was released on August 13th, 2019. The game follows the burning of Fazbear Frights, the horror attraction, due to Michael burning down the building to kill his father. However, Sister Location's custom night Golden Freddy cutscene reveals that Springtrap survived. A few years after the event of the 3rd game, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place has been created, and to end the memory of everything that started the legacy of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, as the agony of every tragedy should. Henry devised a plan. Have Michael Afton, the brave volunteer, salvage any of the animatronics that fits under paragraph 4, then lock them in the labyrinth. Once all the animatronics that fit paragraph 4 are in the labyrinth, he would turn up the heat to burn down the building and free the spirits of the 5 remaining children.
I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, so don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
The game starts as an 8-bit style minigame. In this minigame, the player controls minigame Freddy. The objective is to collect pizzas and launch them towards customers. Another Freddy sprite later appears, acting as an obstacle that blocks the pizzas. The minigame then glitches and takes the player to the next screen. After the glitch, the player finds themselves sitting at a desk with a cassette recorder and a sheet of paper. In front of them is a damaged version of Circus Baby. The man on the cassette tape then goes through multiple audio prompts with eerie noises to test movements of the animatronics. The cassette recorder stops, and the damaged animatronic looks towards the screen. The player is then taken to the title screen. Upon starting the game, the objective requires the player to fill up their pizzeria with items from a catalog that reflects the atmosphere, safety, environment, and bonus revenue. The player must also avoid items with a liability risk in order to prevent lawsuits, as described by Tutorial Unit. The player then enters a dark office with a computer in front of them and 2 vents to the left and right. The goal of this part of the game is to complete all the tasks listed on the computer. If the player salvaged an animatronic, or if there's one loose, then the player must also attempt to prevent the animatronics from getting into the office. This is done by turning off the computer and fan, but this will also cause the temperature to rise. If the temperature in the office reaches 120 degrees Fahrenheit, then the player will pass out. Turning on the computer and fan lowers the temperature, but causes noise, alerting the animatronics to the office. If the player accepts any sponsorship deals, advertisements can also appear, making more noise. If an animatronic is in an air vent, the player can shine their flashlight into the vent. There is also audio that the player can use to lure the animatronics away from the office. When finishing up the tasks, the player must log off their computer to complete the night. Between nights, the player will be presented with an animatronic that was found in an alley. The player will be given a choice on whether to salvage the animatronic or put it back in the alley. Salvaging the animatronic will yield a revenue bonus. Throwing the animatronic back into the alley will yield no bonus, but the animatronic will not be loose in the pizzeria. When salvaging an animatronic, they must make sure that the animatronic does not come too close, or it will jump scare them, and the bonus revenue will be lost. The player can use a taser to get the animatronic back to a stable position, but using it more than 3 times decreases the animatronic's salvage value. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to see more. That's all for now. Goodbye, and see you next time.